I'm gonna tell you all the top gifters of the channel. Flag status with 25 subs. Moni 2 Sweet with 16. The Crowdless King with 10. Eric the Viking with 5. Mookip with 5. Shadosha with 5. The Copycat X with 5. Balance with 2. Only Time with 2. And Poon Tycoon for 2. And then Deadeye with 1,200 cheers. And then Jodica for 100 bits. So thank you everybody that's been supporting the channel. I stream a lot, so I appreciate everybody that gives back to my channel. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to everybody that always gives back to my channel. I appreciate it. But we should just start it now anyway. Okay, so the first thing you want to do in Tekken, obviously, is select a character, right? So today, guys, my name is fightinggm. Y'all might know me as GM Fizzle. You know, I've been playing Tekken my whole life pretty much. I've also been a Tekken player in tournament since around 2003, 2004. My first Tekken tournament was a Tekken 5.0 tournament. So Tekken 5.0 was my first Tekken game, and ever since then I never stopped playing Tekken. And and eventually I got good enough to win big tournaments and beat some of the best players in the world. So today I will do a Tekken beginner's guide. It's the first time I do some shit like this, so I feel like there's not enough of this, right? And there's a lot of people that don't really make stuff like this or give the correct info when it comes to stuff like this. So I'm gonna try to make a Tekken beginner's guide right now. First of all, the first thing you need to do obviously is you have to pick a character, right? Pick a character based off maybe the way you like the way they look, play style wise. You know what I'm saying? You gotta figure out how you want to play Tekken, or what kind of character you want to use, right? Because in Tekken, pretty much everybody has a different play style, right? They all play different. Everybody plays super different. So you kind of want to like pick a character based on that, on what they do, right? Or what you want to do as a player, right? That's pretty much the first thing. Of course, you could go different routes, right? If you want to play a hard character, you could start with the mixups, right? Those characters are like probably the hardest characters to play. Some of the hardest characters to play. But most of all, this game is a lot easier to play than other Tekken games. So even the hard characters are easy compared to what they were in other games, and like older Tekken games. So yeah, just play who you like, because even the hard characters are easier to play in this game, right? But characters that I feel are really good for beginners are Claudio is really easy to play. Negan is really, really easy to play. Kasumi, she's easy. Plus, you can learn fundamentals with her. So that's another easy character to play. Shaheen, very easy to play. Paul is easy to play, but, at the highest levels, he's pretty hard to play because he's pretty unsafe, and his poking tools are kind of limited. But he's also a good character for like people getting into the game to play. What's another character that I think is pretty easy? I think Kuni is pretty easy for beginners. And the one thing I say why is she has a lot of stuff that's hard for people to deal with, and her button inputs are really easy too. And she has a lot of gimmicks too, so it's like, you know what I'm saying? So she's one of them. Leroy is good for beginners too. He's not hard. I think Fakuram is easy, good for beginners too. So most of the DLC character. If you already play 2D games, you might as well play Gisa Akuma. But Gisa's a lot easier to play than Akuma when it comes to just like 2D shit. Katarina is also easy to play. So there's a lot of easy to play characters in this game. Asuka is easy to play too. So there's a lot of characters that a beginner could just pick up in Tekken 7. Fang is not that hard either. And of course, Jack is easy, and Lars is not that hard either. So as you can see, as a beginner, you have a lot of options. I've heard Lucky Chloe and Lily are also easy too. And then the other characters are more advanced, like like Steve and stuff like that. So that's first. You wanna be able to pick a character first, right? Pick up a character to suit your play style. After that, you gotta learn the staples, right? the combos or whatever. Let's go to Lee Chaolan since that's like my main, right? So you gotta pick a character, and once you pick a character, I think the first thing you need to do is go through the. How are you? I'm good. Do you ever sleep? I obviously slept if I woke up and I'm streaming now. So yes, I do sleep. All right, so okay, so another thing, the first thing you need to do is obviously you have to go through the move list, right? You have to go through the moves and find out which moves are good for your character. Why? Just look at all the moves, right? Go through the whole move list, and then after you go through the whole move list of all the moves that your character has, from there you have to pretty much figure out the usages for like different moves and stuff, so you can understand neutral. I think neutral is the most important thing. Like, you know, like DF1 is a staple poke. People usually do this to set up stuff. You know what I'm saying? DF1 plus on block, it's only -1, so that's like a staple thing that you know people do to set up. You see, is -1, so that's a good poke to start. You know, your pressure with. And then jabs are 10 frames and +1, so you could like start pressure with that, you know. If you do jab into 1-2, your opponent can't interrupt it. The only thing they could do is either sidewalk or high crush. But that shit will beat out like every option. And a character like Lee that got a 10 frame counter hit, you could do jab into 2-2, and it'll counter hit him. But it's also punishable too, right? So, but yeah, just learn all your characters' moves. Like this is used for poking, this is used for poking, but also high crushes. Also figure out what moves high crush. Like for Lee, for example, down 3 high crushes, down 2 late high crushes, 4-4-4 high crushes, and that. High crushes are technically moves that go on the highs. I'll give you an example of what a high crush is. See, a high crush is a move that goes under highs, and you get a crush. See, down 2 with Lee doesn't fully high crush, right? That's also a thing. Some moves don't fully high crush, but Lee's down 3 does fully high crush. Right? Fully high crushes, see that? So now you know. So that's high crush, right? Also, there's moves that low crush in the game, right? Which is usually a delay hop kick, because it goes on the lows, or just a hop kick, low crushes. So that's one of the systems in Tekken 7. There's moves at low crush, and there's moves at high crush. So you gotta figure those out. These are 4-3-4 also low crushes too, if y'all wondering. See, low crushes. So you gotta figure out what moves, what characters do that. It's usually when you see them jump or whatnot. Okay, so let's teach people frame data, right? I'm gonna teach people frame data. Okay. Everybody's jabs is pretty much 10, except for like I think like Gamble and Jack, which is like 12 and 11. But most people's jabs are 10 frames, right? 10 frames is basically the fastest thing in the game. A crouch jab is 10, a 1-2 is 10, right? So let's say somebody does something that's, let's say he does down 4-2, right? You see, it's -13. That means you could punish it with a 10 frame. You'll punish it with a 13 frame move. 11. So you pretty much could punish a -14 move with anything that's like 10 frames and up. So basically, if something is 10, you can punish it with a 10. You can punish something that's -10. if you do a 11 move, you can punish it with something that's 11 frames. You know what I'm saying? If somebody does on minus 11, you can punish it with a 11 frame move. If somebody does on minus 12, you can punish it with minus 12. If you can punish something minus 13, you can punish something minus 13. What up, Crownless? What up, everybody? How you doing? So you can punish moves from if something's minus 15, you can punish it with anything that's 15 and lower. But usually when something is minus 15, you want to punish it with a launcher because most launchers are 15 frames. Basically, just punish the moves with the optimal damage, whatever you get the most damage with, right? If there's a wall, you want to go for a wall splat, pretty much, to get the combo on the wall, right? So that's pretty much frame data. That's how to punish moves, you know? When it comes to pluses, basically, I'll give you an example. Let's say I do jab into magic 4 with Claudio, right? See how his magic 4 is 12 and then standing jab is +1? That means the magic 4 is going to come out at 11. You see it's trading with Lee, right? But if I do a 10 frame move, I'm going to beat him out, you see? So basically, when it comes to plus, when something is plus, you just have to take away 1 frame away from the move that you do. So if I do jab in a magic 4, the magic 4 is going to come out at 10 frames instead of 11 because I'm at plus. But if I'm at negative, like DF1 into magic 4, which is because DF1 is -1 on block, my magic 4 is going to come out at 12. You get what I'm saying? So if a move is plus, you deduct. If a move is minus, you add. So that's how you reframe data. I feel like a lot of people don't know how to reframe data. So basically, by playing with negatives and shit, you can like also, I'll give you an example. Let me see, wait. Okay. See? I did a -2 move into 1-2. So his 1-2 came out at 12, and then the down forward 1 I'm doing came out at 13 frames because it's a 13 frame move. So he's gonna beat me out because his jab is coming out at 12 after the down back 4 because the down back 4 is -2. Y'all understand? So that's how you play negative frame traps, negative mind games with negative buttons. That's a good way to play that. To do that. You know what I'm saying? To play like that. You know, to play by negatives and whatnot. So that's one thing about Tekken. So yeah, so what else to teach people about Tekken? All right, the backdash canceling, right? You see how I'm backdash canceling? It's pretty much back down back down back down back. That's if you want to do the perfect Korean backdash cancel. So you don't mess up the if you play a sway character, you won't mess up a sway. That's how you do the perfect Korean backdash cancel. But the way I'm doing it, you see sometimes I'm pressing down and shit. I'm just pressing back down. That's a way to do it. You can also do a forward dash like that too. You see? You can do it both ways. So that's how you Korean backdash cancel. Always, when you backdash cancel, make sure you hold back at the end of it, because you could get hit in between your Korean backdash canceling. Backdash canceling is mostly just to space people out, right? I'll give you an example. See? I did a keep out move, and then I whiffed, right? Because I did a short button. You saw that? See, I'm out of there, right? I did short button. So you could do like a keep out, and then hop kick, right? If they do something that, if they got range, right? So you can make people whiff. That's the purpose of doing Korean backdash canceling. It's basically to make people whiff when you do keep out moves. When you do a keep out move and they mash a button with short range right after the keep out move, that's when you know. Right there, you know you could time it. If you see a whiff, so that's the purpose of Korean backdash canceling. To also get away from offense, but also to make people whiff after keep out moves. So that's the purpose of backdash canceling. A lot of people backdash for no reason to the point that their back is on the wall and then they get mauled. You don't want to do that. So that's the purpose of backdash canceling. Also, forward dash canceling is basically to bait people. Let's say somebody likes to do this into that for no reason, right? Thinking you're gonna come in. Forward dash, see? I was able to block and punish it. You see that? So that's the purpose of forward dash canceling, is to bait buttons. Bait keep out buttons. It's harder to do online, but if you practice it a lot, you should be able to do it. So that's good to do. It's good to do, you know. All right, so another thing that's good to know. Yeah, full forward back is the dash block. Yeah, that's how you dash block. Another thing too is sometimes people do stuff like this, right? And that's basically if somebody notice that you keep rushing in with moves after a keep out move. So I'll get hit on counter hit because I'm rushing and doing a move. In those situations, you could just backdash. See? So that's basically, you know, that's how you learn how to space, right? Let's say you keep doing a keep on move, right? Like down 4-4 or something. If you notice your opponent keeps coming in after the move, that's when you start doing stuff like that. But the issue with doing that, if you time it wrong, you could get hit on counter hit with a long range counter hit button. See? So that's basically another purpose to do keep on moves. Is to see how your opponent reacts once they block it. So if you know somebody keeps dashing up with moves, you could get a counter hit like that, right? But you know that's also a risk in that, right? Because you could whiff and get launched, right? So there's a lot of when spacing is a lot about reading people's movement after they block your stuff. In general, there's a lot of reading people's movement. So that's how you space. Just pay attention to how your opponent reacts to your keep out move and the way they move to your keep out move. So like I said, if you do a keep out move, you know when somebody keeps coming up to you, you can magic forward them or do another keep out move. But the issue with that is also you could get counter hit out of it if they know you're gonna do it. So it's a little mind game, right? Okay, let's teach people how to sidewalk properly now. I'll give you an example. Let's say jab into that, right? That move doesn't track. See? So learn how to step certain moves. So you can know. See, it tracks that way. Or you could sidestep and block in Tekken. So right when you sidewalk, hold back. You can sidestep and block. And then the other way, see, doesn't track that way. So use your sidewalking. The reason the sidewalk is pretty much so you won't get mixed up the whole game. You know what I'm saying? You don't need to guess every move. See? Fully whiff. And then I get a, you know what I'm saying? See that? Now let's just do it in neutral, right? See? No tracking. And then launch punch, right? See that? Also in Tekken, if you do a move, I'll give you an example right now. See how this move is +4? I can still beat him out of it, right? Because I'm doing Watan 2-2. So this is coming out 11 frames, a hop kick. But my Watan 3-3 is 10, so. Okay. Also, when it comes to crushing, I believe it's you could do a low crush or a high crush. Let me see before I say anything that's not correct. That's cardio's down back 3. All right. All right. So let's say you do. See? So -5. It depends on the spacing. So pretty much, I will only suggest trying to do a low crush, depending on the spacing, right? If you do a spacing after -5, if you try a low crush at -5, it's only after, you know, after a distance. But if you in their face, I wouldn't suggest doing it. But it does work though. If you know somebody doing, you know, if they do something that's 11 frames, then the magic 4 is not gonna work, right? I mean, the down 3 is not. It's gonna work if you do a standing 4 after back 1-1, right? After +5. But if I do jabs, you see I beat them out. So it's weird. You just gotta practice it. So -5 and down, you could crush still. You could definitely crush though, -5 and down. But I wouldn't really recommend trying to crush the move after -5 because it's pretty risky, right? But -4 and down, I would suggest if you still want to do like a crush setup. That's what I would suggest when it comes to crushing moves, especially like, I'll give you an example. See? With a hop kick, I would beat it out. But I'm going to do down 4. So you can't do it, right? Because down 4 is too fast. That's it. Alright, so what else I could teach you? Oh yeah, when it comes to poking is pretty much just like chip damage, right? DF1, down 3. Poking is mostly used to open up your opponent, to get them to swing back or to get them to guess and stuff, or to get them to start running into launches and play impatient. That's pretty much the reason to poke in this game. It's a setup. It's set up your counter hit buttons, right? Like down for 1 sets up that, down for 1 sets up that, down for 1 set up that. So it's a lot of things, right? So poking is basically just to open up your opponent defensively. So that's what's good about pokes. Plus pokes are usually pretty safe, right? So you could just do them and not worry about getting punished, right? For poking. And also most pokes track, right? So pokes are good to stop people from sidewalking. See that? Because if you just do launches all day, you're gonna play really linear. So figure out how your pokes track to stop your opponent from stepping. So that's what's the reason to poke, to set up launches, set up whiffs, get people to react the way you want them to. Plus, his pokes are usually pretty safe, right? So that's the reason to poke in Tekken. So figure out what moves is like you can use as poking tools to open somebody up in Tekken. Oh, of course you gotta learn your staple combo, right? If you did a poke that's -2 or -3 where you continue pressure or back off, you're minus, so you really shouldn't continue pressure after minus. The purpose of doing minus is just attacking after minus is to set up a counter hit trap or sidewalk and launch. So when you do a minus move, it's more about waiting and seeing what your opponent is going to do rather than continuing pressing buttons. At the same time, it's all about, it just depends what your opponent does. Let's say you do down 3, right? It's all about looking to see what your opponent does. Same with down for 1 on block. It's just a wait. Well, I do this every time on my stream though. This is not new. I always guide my community every single time I stream. Every single time I stream. Yeah, but yeah, that's pretty much it. When it comes to like shit that's negative. Also, you gotta learn your staples, right? I think combos is the last thing you should combos is the last thing you should learn, right? So learn your character's staple combo. Learn your combos, your non-war staple combo, and then learn your character's war carry combo. So you gotta learn the staple, and then the war carry combo. Also, you gotta learn your character's 50-50s. Let's say I'm playing Leap, right? So my 50-50 is pretty much a slide, right? It's either I hit him with the low, or I hit him with the mid, right? And that's the 50-50. So 50-50s are usually just a mid and a low. That's a 50-50. That's how you know, get people to guess, right? So learn your 50-50s, man. Learn what moves is good to use to stop people from ducking, and learn what moves is good to stop people from fucking, you know, standing still and stuff. So slide with Lee, and then other characters is other things, right? So figure it out. Because Tekken is mid-low mix-ups, you know? You can also do throws to open people up, too. Throws are good. Throws are good, too, to open people up. So yeah, you know, you gotta learn your staples, learn what wall carries, learn what's best to do without walls. You can find all that stuff online about learning what combos to do with your character. You know what I'm saying? Some combos are better with walls, and some ones are better without walls or whatever. Also, what's another thing I could talk about? Oh yeah, rage drives. When you have rage, you can do a rage drive, but it takes away your rage, right? So you only could do it once per round if you have rage, right? You know what I'm saying? So only once per round. So basically, you gotta see your uses for your rage drive. When it comes to Lee, his rage drive is mostly used after this. And you can also use it a whiff punish also. So those are two things you can do. So that's what you can do. You can use it to whiff punish, or you can use it as that. You know what I'm saying? So, and then you have the rage art, right? Which acts as an armor move, right? If you have enough health and they hit you with something, you could like absorb a hit with that. So it's good to use like a negative move or a plus move, and then your rage art. Only if you know your opponent is gonna attack, because it's launch punishable. But it's a good armor move to do, just to catch people. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta be really careful at the end of the rounds, because people really like to rage art, and that shit beats out a lot of moves. It's a really scrubby mechanic. It's a really scrubby mechanic, so. But it's in the game, so. So yeah, so rage drives. Rage arts, they have armor in it. And then characters have armor moves, right? Like Lee has Hitman 3, which absorbs hits, but is free to lows, right? Same with this one. Absorbs highs and mids, but free to lows. Also, most armor moves, you can do like a trick, right? Let's say, if we do like a quick recovery move, like a quick poke. See? Wait, I'll show you. See, I was able to block still. And then I can launch punish him, right? So that's an issue with armor moves. You gotta be careful on your armor move. See? Be careful doing armor moves. Also, getting up in Tekken is pretty simple, right? You could hold back and he gets up like that. You can press down and box and they side roll and then you get up. You can press X, you know what I'm saying? And you do a get up low. You can press, you can press 4, get up mid. You can press back and 3+4, spring kick. You press up and box and he rolls up. So you gotta learn how to roll, right? It says -12, right? Man, that shit's really safe in this game. So spring kicks are -12. Sometimes -11. Wow, they so good in this game. It's so safe. But if you block it, damn, so it depends how you block it, right? So if I block it up close, like really close, it's launch punishable. But if I block it from like far, it's like -14, right? Yeah, it depends how you block it, right? It's still, yeah, it's still pretty risky then, right? And then get up kicks at 12. So you get to get a 12 frame punish. Sometimes you could do a move to beat out a get up kick, right? See how I did down 3? And beat him out. But when somebody's on the floor, you basically just want to bait them to do a button, like down 3, like any shit, like, you know, get up kick. So you basically just want to bait people when they're on the floor to do something, because a lot of people, when you knock them down, they panic a lot. So you can also sidewalk it too and bait it. Yeah, so that's also, when you eat something, you could, like, when you eat a combo or something, you could tech roll, right? And tech roll is just pressing box. On the wall, whatever. See how I tech roll? Tech rolling is alright. You don't want to tech roll too much, because if you become too predictable with tech rolling like that, which is basically just pressing box right when you get up, you're prone to eat a mix-up, because somebody will wait till you tech roll and then 50-50 you. So all the options I gave you, you can do them on the wall. So basically, after you eat a wall combo, you just have to see what your opponent does, and pretty much, you know, counter whatever they do after they wall combo. But it's up to you to figure out your character's wall combos and learn how to deal with stuff on the walls, which is pretty much just changing your timing on how you get up on the wall and stuff. But that's pretty much it for this beginner guide. I think I've covered all the basics pretty much. We could just do the stuff on the wall so people can understand. Other stuff is like, you know, stages that the floor breaks and stuff, right? And that's pretty much just figuring out what moves break the floor and stuff. Also, yeah, I forgot to put the whole the one last thing, right? Whiff moves too much, because if you whiff moves too much on neutral, you're gonna get launched. So it's like you gotta bait people. You gotta bait people, you know what I'm saying? See, I whiff punish, right? See, when it tells you punish on the thing when you punished it, right? Yeah, but that's it for the guide, man. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I think I pretty much covered everything you need to know about Tekken. Everything else, it just comes down to learning matchups, learning how to punish characters, learning when to step, learning when to back up, learning, you know, what crushes, what doesn't. So there's a lot to learn in Tekken, but I think I covered pretty much all the basics that you really need to know. You know what I'm saying? Find out what's punishable by characters, you know what I'm saying? Find out what moves you can duck. Like, give you an example. Let's say somebody does a mid-high like that. You know, duck it, launch. You know what I'm saying? Figure out your high wall combos on a high wall splat. It's pretty simple, right? But that's it for the guide, man. So now I will play some matches. I'll upload this shit on YouTube or something. Hopefully awards could definitely set this up for me. Thank you for the sub, the Crownless King. I just wanted to do this for you guys because y'all really supported my stream the past few days. Y'all subbed a lot, gave a lot of gifted subs. I'm also gonna give back to my community by hosting that tournament next Saturday. So if y'all interested in joining my free to enter tournament with a nice pot, you know, come through and enter my tournament. It's gonna be a lot of fun, you know. So come through and join the tournament. It's gonna